LeafHouse.com.
Top 5 the best current dynasties. I was going to do top 5 topics I missed talking about while I was gone, but I didn't want it to be dated immediately once we put it on YouTube. So I wanted to especially throw out some love to one of the schools on the list who just got on here, not just because of what they did last night, but still.
LSU's one of them.
Yeah, LSU's one of them.
You just gave it
I'll
away.
say that. But
all right.
It would have devolved into me just ripping Bill Hancock for the whole segment. So I didn't want to do that either. But number 5, Alabama football. Look, they haven't won a title in a couple years, but they're still in there. And if the worst thing you can say about an Alabama football season is they had 2 losses on the last possession of the game.
On the road, right?
On the road. Look, and they didn't look like completely themselves last year, but they found a way, except against LSU and Tennessee. And that found them outside of the playoff picture. If they have that same season 1 year from now, they'll be in the playoff, and everybody will be sad about it because they'll have an opportunity to win the national championship again. So they're still, one of the best going. Only at 5th on this list, just because it's been a couple years since they've actually physically gotten to hoist a trophy.
Yeah, I mean, there's no end in sight right now for them, but there are a lot more threats than there have ever been before, including within their own conference, whether that be LSU, winning the West, or Georgia winning the whole dadgum thing, and now here comes Texas and OU, and I know that's not going to make Bama fans flinch, but, I mean, it is another new era that's about to start up, and, shoot, we don't have any idea if Hugh Freeze gets Auburn rolling again or Billy Napier figures it out at Florida or something. Like, we don't know the next team, Shane Beamer out in Columbia, who could, cause some chaos as well. But, yeah, I mean, they're still at the tippity top, but Georgia's had something to say about that here recently.
Yeah. Now, look, the next 4 on this list are kind of obvious, but they have been doing it for a little bit now, depending on your stretch. But number 4, UConn men's basketball. Look, we can talk about UConn's women's basketball. Gino Auriemma is fantastic. But the men's basketball team in the last 20 years has won 4 titles with 3 different head coaches. And they do get left out of the dynasty conversation quite a bit. And this is not just dynasty of your immediate run. This is, to me, a team that can go through change and then rebound and be what everybody expects them to be again. And UConn's men's basketball now winning for the 4th time with a 3rd different head coach completely fits that bill. And now that they've won in the NIL and transfer portal era, the floodgates are going to be open for them to do it again probably pretty soon.
It's hard to imagine. UConn women's basketball has now not won a title since 2016 when they were on that incredible streak. They haven't played but one of the other years have they been in the finals, and that was 2 years ago losing to South Carolina. It is really kind of dried up for them.
Well, and look, that's good news for women's basketball. That's good news for women's basketball.
Yeah,
it really is,
yeah.
because it means that you're going to have a different thing when you tune in every time. But UConn men's basketball, and I think Danny Hurley has them. Obviously, they're the defending national champions, but I think he'll have them on a crazy ascendancy here coming up.
Yeah, obviously the defending champs, and as you said, they've done it kind of in different eras, so to speak. But for a long time now, getting a little bit of that Big 12 rumor mill buzz going. I don't know how realistic any of that actually is. I, understand the appeal, and at the same time, I understand the wanting to run away from that idea as fast as freaking possible, especially if you're UConn and you just won a men's basketball national championship. It's the same concept of, like, why would Oregon and Washington leave a 10-team league when there's an expanded playoff to make it harder to get in the playoff when they'd basically have a layup every couple of years? And kind of the, with UConn, I know it's different because of the format and all of that, but they just won the title. Like, you don't need to go improve the basketball side of things. No. Like, that's not where you're lacking, clearly. So, that's something that, I guess boils down to money and exposure and everything. But, yeah, they've been at it a long time. They've been super consistent and have thrived in, whether you're looking at NBA players or championships, whatever, and multiple coaches makes it very impressive.
Number 3, LSU baseball. It only takes every couple of years before an LSU team seems to cycle their way through to running through the College World Series. And this series, the 3-game series they played against the Gators was really intriguing in that they had, a nail biter in game 1 and then a Florida boat race in game 2, and then LSU didn't take that well and returned the favor in game 3 and won the title. But LSU's now gone through a couple of coaches here after the Skip Birchman retired. I mean, so they've gone through it, and here they are back on top again. And that's just what the Tigers do is win the College World Series. And this is the team on this list that I am the most, as a fan, insanely jealous of, because I very much enjoy college baseball, and my team is the one that's always knocking at the door and can't get in.
They bypassed Texas, who we know has been incredibly successful in Omaha. They now have the second most national titles with 7, only behind USC. And USC, it's been a while when they had unbelievable names coming through that system.
How long since they last
for USC?
It was 98. That's when they last won a championship.
Okay. It's been 24 years, 25 years, yeah.
So they've sat there and still have some room to sit a little while longer without adding to that, but not much longer. But if LSU is going to do it at every 10-year type of a clip, because it's been a while since that last one before this one, but they've been rolling, man. In every sport, it's been super impressive, and the SEC's really, get tired of saying it because it's like ad nauseum, but they've really wrapped their hands around baseball here over these last several years in terms of being the team, having a team on top of the mountain at the very end. So LSU just continues that on, and to have second most all-time national championships is a very cool feat to be able to brag about, and they do it at different kinds of ways. And I don't know, like, they were a pretty good team, but as people were calling them like the Cinderella and the underdog and stuff.
LSU?
Yeah, I saw that. I know.
Yeah,
I know. Did anybody else see that, by the way? Like, there's like an underdog element to them.
They
and
did.
That was kind of confusing. Maybe it's just the style in which they play is what was being referenced there. But yeah, they're no underdogs. They're on top of the baseball mountain.
When you have two top five,
like everybody now, no one believed in us.
Right?
They were ranked number
The Warriors
1.
are like, no one believes that Steph can lead a team. Yeah, okay, like whatever. Yeah.
Two top 5 picks and it just doesn't. Baseball draft is so
and the greatest
hard to
pitcher
peg.
in college baseball history.
Absolutely. And Dylan Cruz is awesome, by the way. Can't wait to see what he does as a pro. Number 2, Oklahoma softball, who just lost one of their stud players just transferring to Nebraska, which was kind of a shock.
Jordy Ball,
she wants to go play closer to home, but I don't know who's going to. I mean, even losing a player of that caliber, I don't think it's really going to slow them down that much.
No, they'll be fine. I saw where a catcher entered the transfer portal. That means you've kind of had this winning, and now maybe there's reasons you want to leave. They will plug easily, copy and paste. You don't replace Ball just like that. They will copy and paste, and they will not miss a beat.
I mean, it's not all that different from Georgia losing like a 5-star quarterback because he's not got a chance to go play. I think there's some element of that too, of just like, where's the playing time at for some people when you're as good as they are? There's just not a lot of, a lot of chances maybe for everybody involved. But yeah, they've won 3 straight. They've won 5 since 2016. Had another one in 2013. And, prior to that, it was really mostly like a Pac-12 schools or like your occasional, like a Michigan or somebody would pop. But like the Pac-12 ruled the softball roost for a long time.
Yep, they did.
Oklahoma's upended that, and they had interjected themselves a little bit. They, won titles throughout the last couple of decades, but this run here recently, where they've just built it into consecutive titles and really no end in sight is super impressive. The one loss they avenged. I don't like getting trophies for participating or anything. Like Baylor softball, like we beat Oklahoma, and it's like, but they won every other game. They won the national title, so it's like, what does it really matter? But it's a cool trivia note for you. Patty Gasso is a legend, and they should be doing. I expect they'll be doing the same thing in the SEC. I mean, that's the thing is like there's gonna be so many swimming and diving titles and softball titles and those kinds of things that weren't as maybe regular, that now they're going to benefit from OU and Texas in a lot of those different ways, not to mention the bigger sports from time to time too.
Yeah, absolutely. And number one, Georgia football, back-to-back college football titles is a really hard thing to do.
Is that the only reason they're ahead of Oklahoma softball?
Yeah, they are. It's really, really hard to do, and they are look.
They were more dominant in some ways than OU softball,
Yeah,
depending on what game we're talking about.
Yeah, just absolutely rolling through. There's no reason to see them stopping this year, considering that. And look, I don't think it's really any fault of their own. I mean, things happen. One of their big non-conference game got taken off by the conference because that they're coming in a year, so they're not playing Oklahoma, so they had to replace that. So here Georgia is, and they're spending more money in recruiting. They're doing all these things. Kirby Smart is considerably younger than Nick Saban, so conceivably can maybe work at a faster pace, but they don't show any signs of stopping at Georgia. Something crazy weird is going to have to happen for the Bulldogs to be out of this conversation, to me, in the next decade.
Yeah, no one, no matter who they are, what they have coming back, they lose Stetson Bennett. You'd think, okay, they maybe even a more talent. No one has won 3 in a row.
No.
Not the great Miami teams, the USC teams, the Oklahoma teams, not the Nebraska dynasties in the 90s or Florida State. None of them. Alabama, they have never won 3 in a row, and that is amazing.
Florida State played in 3 in a row and lost 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to get any easier with an expanded playoff.
No.
So this might be the one pocket of time here this year where you could see that actually happen, because beyond that, I mean, I just think the grind of the playoff, I don't care how well set. Georgia will be better set up than anybody, save for Alabama or maybe whoever at any given moment. But still, to go play the SEC schedule, although you look at theirs and it's not that bad actually. Kind of like we overhype that sometimes.
They landed on the good part of the wheel.
Yeah,
this year,
I mean, there's definitely good parts of the wheel, but it's treated as though it's everything's barbed wire everywhere you look. But anyways, they're well set up, but to go win multiple playoff games and do that on a yearly basis, year after year after year, is going to be really difficult for anybody.
Sure it is.
So I mean, this is a window for them to maybe be the first to do that, and I don't think it would come as a surprise. I mean, if they're not a playoff team next year, then something went really, really wrong, given their schedule and their talent level. But yeah, they're a juggernaut, and you're like, who's ever going to dethrone Bama? Bama's still right there, but Georgia, they're the kings right now for sure.
You wonder, had there been a playoff of even 4 teams back the last 45 or 50 years, how many that had a chance to win 3 in a row would have won 3 in a row? It might have made it more difficult. Who knows? It might have made it easier. All right, thank you very much. Oh, my goodness, Jack